Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your forecast for 2019. So, some of the things that I want to talk about today, as you know, we have a lunar eclipse that's going to be happening on the 21st, depending on where you are in the world. And it's a great time because there's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of changes. There's going to be new beginnings, and it's a perfect time for it to happen because it's around the new year. Now, some of the things that I want to discuss with you for 2019, some of the themes that I want to discuss are Jupiter. And Geminis are ruled by Mercury. So, there's a lot of communication going on in your life. That's a common theme in your life. But one of the things that I want to mention is how Jupiter is in your seventh house. And the seventh house, it talks about partnerships, it talks about business, it talks about marriage. And Jupiter is anywhere Jupiter is in your chart, it expands everything. So it just gives you a lot of luck, a lot of opportunities in that area. So the important thing for Gemini in 2019 is to really seize the opportunities that happen in the seventh house. And the seventh house is your opposite, it's basically your opposite house, partnerships and marriages. So some of you might be getting married this year. Some of you might be starting a new relationship because Venus is conjunct. Venus is basically conjunct by 1 degree on the lunar eclipse. So here's the chart. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll see here that Jupiter and Venus are conjunct by 1 degree. So what does that mean? It means that there's an orb that the two planets are literally like this close by 1 degree, like one orb off. So, one of the things that's really important with Jupiter is that you could have all the luck in the world. You can have all the luck in business. Like you could be starting a new business, you could be ending a new business and potentially starting a new business. You could be ending a relationship or starting a new relationship, depending on where Jupiter is in your chart. Now, this isn't going to apply to everybody. I always say check your moon sign, your sun sign, and your rising sign. And if you want to know more about love, check your Venus sign because it will give you a better idea of how the planets are working in your life. So going back to Jupiter, I really want to focus on Jupiter with this reading because Jupiter is in a beautiful place right now in your chart. And if you're able to maximize this opportunity and the things that are happening in your life, it could be something very beautiful. Now, some of you are already in a relationship. Some of you are in a relationship and you love it. It's going very great for you. It's benefiting you. Another thing I want to mention is that some of you could be either entering in a relationship or ending a relationship or already in a relationship, but there's a common theme with your relationship already. Some of you might be doing business with your partner. Some of you might be mixing business with pleasure. And I know a lot of people say, don't mix business with pleasure, but if it's working out for you and it's giving you the positive results that you want, then continue and do that, because I think that's a beautiful thing to have, is to have, a partner and then be making money at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. And if you guys can work together, great. So Venus is going to be conjunct the Jupiter. It's going to be conjunct. Now, another thing that I want to mention as well too is that with the lunar eclipse is not something that, oh, okay, lunar eclipse is happening on the 21st. that's when I'm going to see results. No, that's not how it works. What happens with any major event in astrology, like a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse, Mercury retrogrades, just anything that's like going to impact, the collective in a big way, usually doesn't happen on that day. It's just a marking point to signal change. So it's almost like something was and now something is going to change. So I typically give it 6 months from the date of the event. So the date of the lunar eclipse, give it 6 months to see results. So there could be a common theme. So the reason why I'm saying to you love and business is because it could be potentially a common thread in your life for the next 6 months, or it could be a common thread that already happened, or the past 6 months or the 6 weeks. I give it 6 weeks, 6 months, typically I believe 6 months. That's, 6 months before or 6 months after. So you can either, come back to this video 6 months later and see that if what I said was, gave you some insight. So yeah, like love and business and expansion of your business. Now, if you already have a business, you could be expanding on your business, and you could have a job already, but you say to yourself, oh, I've always had a dream of working for myself, or I always had, this desire to start my own business. And that is something that you can do this year. Okay. So the key with astrology, it's not just, oh, I'm going to tell you something and I'm predicting something. No. Even if somebody predicts something for you and you don't do it, you don't act on it, then it's just information that's wasted. So, I could tell you this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But if you don't go out and do it, okay, it's not going to happen. So you have to maximize on this. So even if you aren't starting a relationship, even if my lips are dry, even if you're not starting a relationship or you're not starting a new business, this is an optimal time for you to do it, because it's going to be a lot easier for you to do it. Whereas, let's say Jupiter is in another area of your chart, it might be less likely that you're going to be successful, doing it. So another thing too is Mercury is your ruler. So what I do is I look at Mercury and I see where is Mercury where is Mercury during this lunar eclipse? Because during the lunar eclipse, again, like I said, it's going to be a common theme for 6 months. So I need to see at the time of the lunar eclipse, where is your ruler? And your ruler is in Capricorn. Yeah, it's in Capricorn at 25 degrees. So this signals to me there's a lot of communication in your work. There's a lot of changes potentially happening in your work. Also, it's squared Uranus in Aries. Now, if you've had some tension in your job that you're in, like maybe you're in a job right now, or maybe you're doing some sort of business and you just feel like there's a lot of changes happening. There might be things that you can't control that are out of your your ability to change. That is not going to stay the same forever. And maybe this was a common theme in your life for the past few years, because Mercury, it doesn't take Mercury a long time to orbit the sun. And that's how astrologers look at charts. They look at how quickly a planet is traveling around the solar system, around the sun. So with Mercury, because it travels so quickly around the sun, it's going to hit that square with Uranus, like maybe not like every week, but 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. Like every 6 months there might be a common theme of like, oh my God, I'm in this job, it's like frustrating. I want to start something new, or there's too much miscommunication, or management isn't organized, and and you might want, either you want to be independent or you want more structure, because when Mercury is in Capricorn, it's very, it first of all, Mercury is a very communicative sign, okay? And Capricorn is more dull, it's more hardworking, it's more, calculative, whereas Mercury is more fun and playful. And so when Mercury is in Capricorn, it kind of weighs it down a bit. It's very hardworking. Like you could be working a lot right now, and you might think, is this ever going to change? And hard work is a good thing, but sometimes if you're overworking yourself, it could be a little too much. So I want to go back to the business, because business is a huge, like business, business, starting a new business right now, or even starting a new partnership or a marriage or a relationship, it's looking very good for you. Now, depending on how long, excuse me, depending on how long Venus is going to be staying in the 7th house, you can maximize on that. So going on dates, meeting new people, getting yourself out there. Now you might say to me, well, I don't have time for that. I'm busy. I'm working all the time. Here's the thing. When Jupiter is in a certain area of your chart, you want to make sure that you maximize on the opportunities that are there. Now, some of you might say, I don't care about that. I don't care about a relationship. I don't care about that. And that's fine. You might feel that way now. You might not feel that way now, but the idea is to maximize on your opportunities, okay? So another thing to think about too is that this square that's been happening between Pluto and Uranus, it's it's very taxing on everybody. And if you felt like you've been weighed down by something, that's going to change. Okay. And you might think in your mind that it's never going to change. You might think, oh, this situation, like, because it's happened for so long that it might not change. The good thing is that Uranus is leaving your 11th house and it's going into your 12th house. And your 11th house is community. It's your wishes and your hopes and your desires. So you might have had goals in your mind that you probably could not achieve because you just felt so much pressure or changes, not pressure, but changes, like a lot of uncontrollable changes and surprises, because that's what Uranus is. Uranus is very, surprise oriented, and it, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect with Uranus. So because it's moving out of that area of your chart, it's gonna signal a lot of changes that you might have thought would never happen, and now they are. So now Mars is currently in your 11th house. So there could be a lot of thinking and a lot of energy being put into this business idea that you might have, or this new relationship that you have, or the relationship that you already have. There's a lot of energy being put in there. And the reason why I say that is because Aries and Sagittarius are both fire signs. And at the time of the lunar eclipse, you have just 1 degree orb off from Venus. So that means that you're going to be putting a lot of energy in either a new relationship or a new business. You're going to be putting in a lot of energy into something that you really want, that you potentially have been thinking about for a very long time, but did not have the energy to put into it, or it just didn't happen for you. You might have wanted love, you might have wanted a new business, but it just never happened for you. Either you didn't have the time or you didn't have the energy. Now you have the energy and now you have the time, which is that's a beautiful thing. Because if you don't have energy to do something, you feel drained, you feel like you're not um, you know, you just feel like you can't move, and that's a horrible feeling, you know. Uh, and that's why it's so important to know where these things are happening so that you can maximize. You know, if you know that, you know, oh, this is in this certain uh, place in my chart, and this is happening here. Oh, okay, that makes sense. You know, sometimes there's opportunities that are available to us and we just don't know about them. Like literally we have no idea. We don't know how to maximize on them because we're not aware of them. But I'm telling you to be aware of this. And this is going to be a common theme for the next 6 months if it hasn't already been a common theme, you know, in the 6 months previously. Another thing too is to keep in mind, um, another thing to keep in mind, Gemini, is, you know, keep communicating. Even if you feel like you're overworked and you're working, you can't make time for, you know, to start something new. Keep communicating with different people. Keep the doors open. Don't close the doors, you know, because something didn't work out in the past. Try to keep those things open because, you know, the beautiful thing about these aspects that are happening in your chart right now is that, you know, nothing stays the same forever. Nothing stays the same forever. So we need to maximize on that as much as we can. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the north nodes quickly, or nodes, north nodes, which are moving from Cancer. Well, they've already moved into Cancer and Capricorn. Now, what does that mean? Cancer and Capricorn are the polar opposites, work and home. So Cancer represents the home, and Capricorn represents your job, your daily, you know, your job and your work. Now, Cancer is in your second house. So this is why I'm talking about new business and I'm talking about new love and I'm talking about real big potential for, you know, love is great, but business is great too. Like, when do you ever have love and business working out? If you have love and business working out for you in your life, or it hasn't happened, it's going to happen because it's just there in the chart. It's showing. So here's the good news. You can make good money this year. In the next 2 years, in the next 18 months, you can make very good money because the North Node is in your second house. That's signaling some karmic dues that are owed to you. Okay, so you have some karmic dues. Now, you know, Cancer represents family. So you could be part of a family. You could be part of a family, you know, have a partnership and have a business with your lover and your partner and your family. And you can expand on that this year. You can really expand big time and make a lot of money if you put your mind to it. I'm not going to say you're going to, you know, money's just going to fall into your lap. No, 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 no. You have to put some energy and some work into it, but you also have to make sure you have a balance too, right? Because you may have put your energy, you know, in a lot of places that aren't serving you in the past. And that's why this lunar eclipse is coming in. So all of these good things can happen for you if you're willing to accept the fact that, you know, there might have been relationships, business relationships that you started that were not serving you. Okay, because I have a feeling that in the last 6 months you've been working very hard, like really, really hard. But I think that, you know, this coming year and for the next few months going on, you're going to start something that you really enjoy, or you're going to change something about your work. And it's going to be very appealing to you. and stuff. And it might even involve travel. Like you might have some traveling that you're going to be doing as well too, because I see that there's a lot of activity that's going to happen in the next month of your ninth house. And ninth house is travel and expansion, and Jupiter is ruled by that. And so we have in between the end of January and the beginning of February, we have the sun moving into your ninth house. So there's, potentially a lot of travel that's going to be happening, a lot of communication. You might be going to school, you might be in school already, you might be starting a new course or something like that. And all these things are great because you're starting something new and you're doing something that you love, and that's what's important. So if you've been doing things in the past that weren't working for you, whether you were in a relationship or you're in some dead-end job, now is the time to really maximize and put your skills to work. You have skills that people want to know about. You're a great communicator, okay? You can communicate because Geminis are usually good communicators. They like to communicate. Like they like posting on Facebook. They like posting on social media. They like to be active. Unless you have something in your chart that debilitates you from speaking, or your Mercury is retrograde in your chart when you're born, then there's really no reason why, you don't want to communicate. Most Geminis want to communicate. Okay. And that's a beautiful thing. So just keep in mind that you have skills that people want to hear about. People want to hear what you have to say. People want to see you. You just have to put yourself out there a little bit more this year. So Gemini, this is your forecast for 2019, plus the lunar eclipse that's going to be happening on the 21st. I highly recommend you that you utilize the Jupiter aspects that are in your chart in the seventh house. If there's a new business opportunity, a new business with family members, or a new business with a love partner, really, really consider it, and really, really take the hopes and dreams that you have, the goals that you've had that you've been thinking about for the last 6 months. Start to take steps to implement them. Whatever you have to do, if you have to do a video, if you have to travel somewhere, if you have to start a course to learn something new, really apply yourself, because I believe that this year is really going to give you the rewards that you need. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Come back, look at this video 6 months later as well, and slowly apply the knowledge that I'm telling you. Also, comment below, like my video. This helps me tap into your energy so that for the next reading, I can give you some more information about what to expect. Okay, Gemini? Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.